Arx Mortis is not only one of the biggest haunted houses here in northern Alabama, it's also one of the most innovative.
There's a central fog system above that room, and they'll flip a little switch, and there's a little fan connected to tubes, and it'll pump it into that. So
today we've got Vinny walking us through for a behind-the-scenes tour of this place like you've never seen before. Their midway and their gift shop are absolutely top-notch. They've even got an entire diner here. So without further ado, let's go in and look at some spooky stuff.
Hey guys.
Hello.
Hey.
I'm Vinny. I'm the owner of Arx Mortis. I want to welcome you guys here.
Thank you.
I guess you follow me. We'll kind of give a little tour and show you what we do here. If you've been to Arx before and you haven't bought your ticket online, you're going to go to one of these ticket windows over here, and they're going to take care of you. If you've already got your ticket, then you're going to come in another entrance, and we're going to go through our online section. Everybody goes through this hallway right here.
Ooh.
Brings us back to the area that we refer to as Fright Town. During the season, our October season, we have kids events going on at the same time too. This is part of our FrankenFuel area. FrankenFuel's got 40 theaters, it's got pumpkin patches, all kinds of activities that kids and family do. Arx, if you're coming to the haunt, you're going to come through here. Right here, you're going to stop, and we're having an attendant, and it's going to give you a color card. Whether anybody who has a ticket, whether you have an online ticket or you got a ticket that you bought a ticket that's a ticket counter, you're going to get a color card. And at that point, you can do whatever you want until we call you color. They have screens throughout the whole complex that are saying what color is being served at that particular time. Plus, there's a major announcement that comes with it. It sounds like a giant church bell that's going off. And when you see that, that's when you're going to look at the screen and see, hey, it's my color, my color next. So you'd have a choice. If you go into Arx, you can go straight back into there right there and wait into the Arx waiting area, or you could come on through during the main season. All of this park back here is full of all kinds of activities that are Halloween haunt related. We have a 4D theater right here. This will be open tonight for My Buddy Valentine. Basically, the seats move, you smell effects, maybe stuff splashed on you, something like that. It's an interactive event. During the off season, that could be changed into a kids venue or something like that. We have had Christmas events here where you're on a Santa sleigh ride, or Easter events that you're with the Easter Bunny going through some kind of a trek through to the meadow and stuff. But during the haunt season, it's a little more scary. It's kind of a little more intense.
You guys are able to change the show as you go along.
Right, and the show that we're showing tonight was actually filmed in Arx with the 3D cameras and stuff, and it's Arx actors that are in there too. So it's pretty cool.
That's really cool.
Nice.
We do have a theater that's set in the back there. We have an animated show that we show for kids and stuff, but we also use the theater for a lot of Arx stuff too. That's another part of the kids event. That's a haunted trail. It's a trolls for kids. And then out here, which this area is closed tonight, but during the season, there's everything from laser tag to jelly ball. There's a zombie shoot. There's arcade games. There's VR, character meet and greets, scare zones, everything out there. It's a huge park. Goes around. We do some projection mapping on the castle back there, and we also will have DJs and events, other stuff that's going on back there too. So it's because we want, while you're here and you're waiting, if it happens to be on one of those busy nights and you've got a 2-hour wait, we'll give you plenty to do and see while you're waiting for the 2 hours, and you're not just caught in a line.
It's so nice not having to be stuck in line the whole time.
Oh yeah, and there's plenty of places to sit, and we have a Cauldron Cafe is out there, which is one of our eateries. In here we've got the Killing Diner. There's the Howling Wolf Cafe. So there's a bunch of different ones that you can go to over there to make sure, whatever kind of treat that you want. Whether you want something sweet, or if you're wanting hot foods or something like that. So.
And today we're here for MBV, which is My Bloody Valentine.
Right.
Tell us a little more about that, Vinny.
Well, MBV started, this is our 13th year. When we started it, I happened to be at Disney World with the family, and we went through Haunted Mansion. And of course I was all excited. That was December of that year. And we started thinking, we should do something, for Valentine's Day. We never did an off-season event, and before Arx, there was Greystone Manor. We were here for 3 years at Greystone, then we changed it over to Arx. In fact, next year, this will be our 20th year on the property doing a haunt. So we're excited about that 20th year anniversary coming up. Well, we decided, we need to look into this. So I started Googling to see if anybody else has ever, because I didn't know if anybody else was even doing an event like that. And I did see one other haunt in Texas that was doing a Valentine event that year. So I talked to the crew, and the crew was excited about it, and we decided, let's give it a shot. And it wound up being just a blast. I mean, everybody had a really good time. In fact, that year we wore our My Bloody Valentine t-shirts to Transworld, which is the big trade show, of course, and we were there. We got stopped by multiple haunts, asking us, and it's funny, 13 years later, every haunt now does on My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah.
But one of the things that made ours, I think, a little unique or special is about the second or third year into it, since other haunts weren't doing it and actors had an appetite of haunting all year long, we just put an open invitation out, come to Arx if you got that in you and you want to get out there and you want to scare some people, come to Arx and we'll have a good time together. And they just came out of the woodwork. And there's some My Bloody Valentines that we've had, over 100, 150 actors that would show up from all over the place.
Wow.
We've had them come from other countries, to this event, So I think tonight, which is, I'm really happy about this. I think we have about 50 coming tonight.
That is awesome.
And of course this is the week before. Next weekend's supposed to be our main week. Of course, this year we're excited. We got a Friday the 13th and Valentine's Day together. So this way, they're open tonight. Tonight, of course, Saturday the 7th, so this is the week before. So I don't expect this to be really, really busy, as far as clientele goes, but I think it's going to be a good time because we've got lots of actors coming in. There are a lot of talent coming from a lot of different haunts. So there's over 100 signed up.
Oh
now, whoever shows up, that's on it. I have a feeling that we're going to be overwhelmed with actors tonight, which is not a bad thing. When that happens, the way our haunt is built, we can open up different sections and make it bigger so we can accommodate more actors in there. Okay. We have our route that we've set aside for My Bloody Valentine, which is similar to our fall route, but there are sections that we don't showcase each year that we kind of keep on, so we may have to open up a couple other sections just to kind of keep it.
Keeps it a little different for the different shows.
It does, yeah.
Now, how big is the haunt?
Yeah.
Everybody's asked about square footage. Our haunt is a little different because you're inside and outside. This complex used to be an old flea market. Years ago, and it was the thing to do back 20 years ago. Everybody was into flea markets at that time and stuff. What happened at that, we'll kind of walk this way. The flea market went out, one thing led to another. I wound up getting a lease on the property, and we've turned these flea market buildings into the haunt. So the flea market buildings were there was a 150-foot long building this way, then there was that connected to another 150-foot long, connected to another one. So I've never thought we would outgrow the complex because we have plenty of room. So now pretty much every square inch of every building is filled with something to do with Arx Mortis and this complex over here. As far as square footage, I know at one time when, 15 years ago when we were all bragging about how big the haunt is compared to everybody else, I know we were between 40 and 50,000 square foot. I have no clue where we are right now. I know we've expanded, we moved things around. So I think if everything is open at the same time, we're at least that still, we are in the process right now of building a new haunt. Okay. It's going to be a 2 or 3 year process. We're building it. We've got, after I bought this property, some other property behind us came up, and it's all wooded back there. There's another 40-something acres, so we purchased it too. So we've got about 60 acres now to kind of play with. So, so now we're taking our time. There's no rush in it. I've said if things go really well during this build season and we get to where I'm happy with it, who knows, maybe we'll open part of it this year. If not, I don't care if it's next year or the year after. I don't want to stress myself or my crew out and working about that haunt over there, but I'm really excited about it because you look back at over 20 years of being on the property and, what would you do different if we could do this and that, and now we're getting a chance to just do it how we want. Every single part, that we'll do it the way we want to do it, and take our time doing it, no rush. And again, I've told them all, I said, if come each year at September, if we walk through that, if it's not as good or better than what we've got, we'll wait another year. There's no rush on that. So that's our attitude on it.
So we're moving forward.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is one of our cafes over here too. This is Cauldron Cafe, one of the back entrances to it. The diner is one of our hot food areas. This is Killing Time Diner. I'm sorry, Killing Time. Killing Diner. We are in Killing, Alabama, so let's play on the name.
Question,
I do have a park. It's a family fun center that's on the side right over here, and it's outdoor mini golf, go-karts, laser tag, all that stuff, and that's called Killing Time. And it's K-I-L-L-E-N, not killing, but Killing Time, just to play on words. So you'll hear me sometimes like Killing Diner right here.
Right.
I call it sometimes, but it's not. It's just we got Killing Diner and Killing Time, which also has its own diner. So this is all part of our queue waiting area. Again, as you're waiting on, there is a DJ. In fact, he's getting there right now, getting set up for tonight. Oh, that's Sonny. Sonny's been with me almost from the beginning. I mean, He's been here forever. He's one of my top managers. He manages Fright Town. Tonight we'll have everything from kettle corn over here, and there's a big gift shop at the end that we'll wind up dead-ending into. Again, when you come through, you're going to get your color card. you do whatever you want, and then you're going to hear the call out. When you hear the call out, you're going to enter in this facade over here. We just kind of changed it up last season. This is now the entrance to the general admission. So if you've got just a general admission tag, not a VIP or a slash pass, you're going to go straight through here, and it's a tunnel that weaves you around to the front. If you've got a VIP or what we call a slash pass, then you're going to come this way, and I'll just bring you through this way. It'll be a little easier to get to where we're going. So a slash pass or a VIP experience right there, they get kind of like a little lounge area that they can sit in. So if you've bought that pass, at any time you want, you can come straight in here and you can go straight into the haunt. There's no wait, for them. That's kind of the reason for a slash pass. You pay a little extra and you get to. But while you're in here too, we're going to give you some. A little trinket like souvenir. It could be a button or whatever kind of, or lanyard, whatever we give you that day. And also we'll give you a snack and drink and stuff over here. And you're welcome to stay in the lounge as long as you want until it's time for you to, until you feel like you want to go into the haunt. And when they come into the general admission now are behind that wall, and they're kind of snaking all the way around, and they're going to come out over here in the front. And these guys over here.
I think I remember. Wasn't this the queue area last year?
It was. We've moved everything around. That's
gotcha.
it. So, and then you're going to come here, and then right here is where you're going to get divided up and stuck into the haunt.
Okay. So the VIP lounge is behind us, and then general admission is going to come in.
Yeah, general admission is going to come right through here. So
and everybody converges right here.
Right here. So right in this area here is where everybody's going to go, into the haunt.
Very cool.
One little fun fact: this little room over here, that's our control booth. Everything in the whole haunt is controlled from that one little room right there. They can see every room. They can talk to every room in there. They can talk to the actors. If there's an emergency, the fire alarms go off, something like that, it's going to ring into this room first, right here. All the props are controlled in that room. The sound is controlled in that room. The fog is all controlled from that room. There's a central fog system above that room. If we want to send fog to the dungeon, they'll call up on the radio. We need more here, and they'll flip a little switch, and there's a little fan connected to tubes, and it'll pump it into that. So everything in there. We have what's called a control booth manager, and the control booth manager, his job or her job is to stay in that booth and just never leave it. They're constantly, and that way, if there is an emergency or if there's a need of any type, one of our what we call our BAMs. Our BAMs are our department heads that are all the way through the actors that are in there, over the actors in that area. The BAM will call on the radio and say, hey, we've got an early out, or hey, we've got somebody that's having a seizure, whatever it is, and then the control booth manager will either send EMS in, which is on site, or fire department, which is on site, or whatever we need, or an escort, to help the person get on out. At this point right over here, you got one person, and that person now is dividing you up into your groups, and they're going to put you on in, and then it's an automated front room system. If we're really busy, then we use both front rooms where one group's in here, and then before they get out, this group goes in, then they go out, then this group goes in, and they just kind of go back and forth like that, and that way it puts about 45 seconds to a minute between each group on really, really busy nights. They're instructed to try your best not to catch up to the group in front of you. You just have to catch up, slow down, and then maintain space is what we tell them, and then that way that you get a better show that way. On not so busy nights, then we just use one side, and then it puts up to about 3 minutes between groups. We prefer that, and we could run like that on probably, I'd say 60 to 70% of all nights that we're open. We could keep it to where we're not here to 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, something like that.
Right.
But on those nights, so everybody wants to come on those last 2 Saturdays, there's only so much we can do. We gotta weigh that between keeping the show good, to where people aren't going to complain that it becomes a Congo line, but also keeping the wait to where they're not waiting 3 to 4 hours to come on in, because then they're mad by the time they come on in. So you just have to find that happy balance on those nights.
Then the way you guys are set up too, you also have different checkpoints along the way where you can kind of re-queue and space them out if they do catch up.
Yeah, we do. Now normally, if this was the regular season haunt, you're going to go through there, we're going to bring you up into the woods for a little bit. Usually go to like a clown tent or maybe one of the other, and then we'll bring you back down. With My Bloody Valentine, because the weather is so unpredictable, and normally it's either raining, cold, whatever else, we usually cut out that part of the outside over there and keep you inside the haunt. And it just makes for a better experience that way. That way you don't have to we don't have to alter it, because it's gotten muddy out there or slick or something like that. We don't want anybody tripping and falling, something like that. So we'll skip the front room over there. We're going to bring you on into the haunt on a different side right here, and then right now we're about to go. Actually, since we're right next to the makeup room, I'll just show you this part right here. This is one of the break rooms.
Hello.
That's
Hi.
These are our ultra dedicated ones because they got here really early. Because
Really
normally you don't have to be here till at least 5 or 6 o'clock. So this is one of the break room right here, and this next room over here is where we get ready to make up, and you get checked in this side right over here. You get checked in with Anna, and then back here is all the different makeup stations and stuff.
Oh wow, this is huge back here.
Yeah, got costumes set right there. I think right now we have 8 makeup stations, airbrush stations, but Courtney, who's overall my makeup artist and somebody just approached me last night saying, hey, we need more. So now we're looking at a complete redesign. I think by the time you might come back here next year, the costumes won't be here. This will be all makeup stations here, and we're going to move the costumes to another room. So because we've just outgrown this. It's one thing when you're getting, like tonight will be a little bit of a stretch. If we have our 70 to 100 actors, whatever comes that we're going to get, but then we got the guest actors too, and it's going to be crowded in there. So I know we're going to set up some temporary makeup stations, run some airlines to them, something like that, but I think we're going to be making some changes pretty soon. So.
It's a good problem to have.
Heck yeah, it is.
And they got some outside areas too that they can sit in while they're waiting too. So
That's cool.
Anybody who's in the haunted industry knows that your compressors are your big, that's the life, your lifeblood, everything. One of our main compressor areas is right here.
Oh, okay.
We've got 2 rotary screw compressors right there that do a majority of the haunt. We got reservoir tanks too. They're called rotary screws because the tanks are all over. There's reserve tanks everywhere throughout the haunt. So they're piling up the tank, but then we've got reserves everywhere over there. But those are the 2 workhorses right here that do most of the haunt. So so we're still in kind of the actor area. I keep the actor area. Even in the bathrooms, we got it themed because this is kind of the old clinic over here. So I even want the bathrooms to look like the old clinic. Keeps the actors in their thing.
In character,
so
yeah.
This normally isn't like this. Anybody who's familiar with this area, we don't usually get those really hard freezes. We got one. One of my pipes burst in the wall. So just today I was fixing this pipe that was burst in the wall. So that's
Even indoor haunts have to deal with the weather and everything.
But of course, once I tack that back up, a little distressing, it looks like, but the bathrooms worked out perfect because
So this is employee bathrooms.
Yeah, these are employee bathrooms, but they're just it's old 1960s, 70s when these buildings were built over there, so the bathrooms kind of work really good for what we're trying right over here. So
I love that. Trying to keep them in the immersion here.
yeah, if they came in from the hill, they're going to wind up coming through this hallway, and we're gonna and I'll show you parts of the clinic right here.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
Yeah.
They're pretty wild in here.
Oh yeah. So one thing that we love about the clinic is like every year that it ages, it looks better. So a lot of the distressing we've done, we wanted to make it old, but now the clinic being, about 15 years old, it's really aged really well. So some of the, I'll get mad sometimes when a hole gets busted in my wall. It's like, who did that? But then we start looking at it, it's like, it actually looks pretty good. So
Yeah, and the patients will probably do that, It smells good too.
Yeah, that's.
I like how the music's actually coming from the radio also.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Not just a speaker on the wall.
Yeah, that's one of our goals when we were starting with Arx is that we wanted everything to be as legit as we can when we're building something. So in the clinic, most everything we took old photographs and everything from our ceilings and framework to the stuff that we have in the clinic is all stuff that's legitimately from that era that we're trying to portray. One of the things you're going to see as we go through, you're going to see a lot of old bottles. And that's a little story on its own. Basically what happened was a buddy of mine called me, and he had a pharmacist, or I think it was a construction crew, called him. They were remodeling an old pharmacy, and they busted a hole in the wall. And when they did, there was a secret room behind this wall, and it was loaded with all these old bottles, with all kinds of medicines and stuff in them like that. And the guy's like, we don't want to. You guys want any of this? And he called me up. It's like, yes, so that stuff's all over this. But
Oh, that's awesome. Oh my. There's somebody in there. Seems angry.
we have a variety of props. I'm sorry, it's gonna get loud.
Woo, yep. Tried to warn me, but it still got me.
Yeah,
that's disgusting.
It's lovely.
Oh my God. He seems happy about it too. Holy cow.
So our air system is turned off right now. Once the compressors are running, then most of the stuff's going to be moving and popping and knocking out, something like that. But
I'm sure they'll get us later.
yeah,
They will. Oh my.
And of course, like I've told many people in the past, no matter how scary I try to make this thing or how a thing like that. It's the actors that make it, you know, and we've got the best actors. Our actors, when they're in here, this place comes to life, you know, and it's just, I said, it's creepy walking through here at night, but you put a bunch of actors in here and that's what makes it, you know.
Yeah.
New level.
Wow. Holy.
I see those bottles. Are those the bottles you were talking about?
Oh yes, I'm sorry, yes, that's a lot of the bottles. We got them all over the place, but this, we call this the pharmacy, but yeah, these are.
Okay. Wow.
Of course, our fog effects are turned off right now, but when they're turned on, a lot of these rooms will have at least a haze.
You prefer fog versus haze, or like you use both? Or?
We use both. I prefer haze,
Gotcha.
but now there's some rooms that you definitely want fog in, you know.
Gotcha.
So, like now the swamp outside, I love the real fog in there because it's just there's something about the fog outside with the water and the swamp.
Yeah.
But inside the haunt, most of our rooms are just a haze.
This body room is very disorienting, especially that like slow strobe.
And when you put the fog in here
I
too.
remember that you
Right?
couldn't see your hand in front of your face.
I remember the
Right?
actors like nailed me in here bad.
Yeah, and there's a lot more light because somehow or another there's a lot more light that bleeds in from the daylight when it's light outside. When we get
So it's gonna be even darker.
Oh yeah, when it's dark outside.
Pitch black. Yeah.
And I said there were different routes to go. You know, we got this one blocked off for tonight, but
Okay.
if you come during October, you may have gone through that way, which goes out to what we call our Memorial Gardens. So
Okay.
Okay.
this next room is probably one of my favorites in here. One of our actors is named Hal Howard. He's our dentist. You know, he just does a remarkable job. I mean, if you ask people when they come on out, what do you remember the most? Usually his name or his character comes up. Well, one of the things that makes his room so special is that a friend of his, who is a dentist, I think it was his father-in-law, had a storage unit or an old building that was full of old dental equipment and basically said, yeah, you want some of this stuff? And when he went in there, he just got, it was just tons of stuff. It's like a kid in a candy store. And he just started bringing stuff down. So all the stuff in here is all authentic from years ago, like old dental stuff like that, even all the way down to just jars full of real human teeth. It's just all kinds of, so there's a lot of eye candy in this room. So.
All real. Wow, I don't even know what that's like an old X-ray.
Yeah, old-timey X-ray machine.
Wow.
All the stuff on the shelves and so it's so cool to look at, as far
Yeah, it
as
is.
all the old tools and instruments and
So when you guys build a set here, do you guys do all the distressing and building yourselves?
yeah, I come on in, I do the main build over there and I'll kind of get everything set and then I've got a team that comes behind me and it's led by, her name's Courtney. Most people in the haunt industry know her as Doot. And she is just remarkable at her. And she's built a team and all of them, her and Ryan and all these others, they come on in, Vasile, and what they do is just incredible. They could take something that, I just bought at Lowe's and make it look like it's been here for the last, 200
Yeah.
years. So.
Yeah, it legit feels really old in here. It's really cool.
Old and nasty.
Yeah, nasty, very
Yeah.
nasty. They were so sterile.
So when Hal did the dental and the reactions that he saw at the dental room, he's like, man, we need to try something else, So he was going through and he's like, I know what we need. And eye exam or so optometrist room, something like that. So this next room over there, he doesn't work it, but he helped design it over there. And he has a friend who's also an optometrist and wound up giving us all kinds of old eye equipment and stuff like that goes with it. So everything down to the camera that they use when they're doing eye surgery, So it's
Oh my
that's
god. Oh.
Is it appropriate to say I see what you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah. The girl that runs it usually is Addie in this room over here, and she does an incredible job too. And it's you can't imagine when looks like you're poking somebody's eye, just the reactions that you get.
Right?
So in this area, we're going through another requeue. Now at night, of course, it's going to be dark out here. What you're going to see in the background is actually Killing Time Adventure Park. That's what I was saying about. You're going to see the go-karts and the other stuff that's back out there. At night, you can't see any of that because it's all dark out there. But this is the requeue for the school. We use the requeues again to just kind of break you back up because there's a good chance that you may be kind of caught up to the group in front of you back for. So we're going to use an actor out there and they're going to try to kind of cut you or break you back up again before you put you back in. But we're going back and we're going to the school now. The school was new. It was added last season. For Valentine's Day, we'll do a little different take on it. Since we took away the clowns, they're usually out in the woods. We put them into the school, and we're having clown school for Valentine's Day.
nice.
So that's going to be the theming in there.
So we're seeing these slash pass signs out here. That's your version of the VIP that you were talking about
Right,
earlier.
yeah, the slush pass is like a fast pass, and that way when you come on out, if you're in that, then you're gonna go straight into another line. You don't have to wait. If this is kind of backed up over here, you're gonna go right back in again. So
That's really unique for this haunt compared to a lot of other haunts, is that you're not just skipping the first line, you're also skipping all of the other lines.
And that's something new that we're doing this year, because that was something we were looking at, and I won't lie, that wasn't our idea. One of my guys had gone to another haunt and saw what they were doing over there and came back with that. It's like, yeah, that's a good idea. We need to implement that. So the school, when we designed it, I went to, and a lot of the other ones that work here too, all my family, kids still here, all went to what's called Lexington High School, which is right up the road from over here. Well, the colors of Lexington High School are purple and gold. So this is kind of a little play on my old school that we had in there. So one of the things they did when we did the school is we've got little, I guess you would call them hidden Mickeys or something like that, like in the school, and you're going to see this in the Blood Hive and other ones like that. There's little tributes to the actors and the ones that help put things together and stuff. And Bryant right there, Mark is one of my managers over here, so, and he's got a degree in history, so of course he's over there. You'll see in the science room, my wife is a biologist. She runs the ticket center, but it's going to say Miss Grosso, and she actually is a teacher at a college, a local college, but she's got her own classroom here too. So
that's pretty cool. I love it when haunters put themselves and their family and actors in the haunt.
Chemistry right here, Hal Howard, that's the dentist. The reason why he gets that right there is this door isn't going to chemistry, that's the dentist office right there.
Oh,
so
okay.
he's right there, so it's like, it kind of drew tribute to him. So.
You guys do a lot of your own audio too, don't you?
All of it, yep. In fact, that over here right there was done about maybe an hour or two ago by Ryan. He was in there, he was mixing and doing all kinds of stuff right then. So.
Getting ready for MVD.
Yeah. And all their posters, everything, like Nathan, one of our guys too, he's putting them all together. But, if it was homecoming, we'd have homecoming posters up there. We did that this last time. We did prom before that. So we do different themes depending on Scream Break, which is coming up as our next event. The school is going to be rethemed, and it's going to be kind of a fraternity theme over there. So it's Anna. She's the one that checks in everybody, but she is also a teacher too, an elementary school teacher, so she's our librarian.
I remember last time we were here, it had stormed really bad that night, so I'm glad you guys are going to have better weather.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that. Yeah, we've had some major storms over the last 20 years. There was sometimes that areas that flooded that we knew that didn't know would ever flood, and where customers were wading through 6-inch water, just going through, and of course we were afraid. But everybody, it was just one of those freak things, when you get 3 inches of rain in an hour, it just kind of caused flooding and stuff. I think one of we try to prepare for everything that you can imagine, because we do have Killing Fire Department is on site when we're operating. Okay. We got EMS on site when we're operating. We've got certified police officers. We have a security team, and we train throughout. We have safety training too that all actors have to complete. They have an online thing that they complete first, and they go through other training and stuff just to prepare for whatever kind of scenario that we may encounter. But one thing that happened 2 years ago that we never prepared for, it was our busiest night of the season at the busiest time of the year, the busiest time of the night too, and we had a power outage. And it was the whole county went out. It wasn't just us, but the whole county. And it lasted for hours. And of course, we have emergency lighting, but what we realized right off is we have no way to communicate. Because all of our PA systems, everything, so we have radios communicating with each other, but not for crowd control. So we learned a lot from that and what to do next time. It's just but you just never know what's going to be thrown out, because we've had tornadoes. We got plans for everything, but that was one thing we didn't plan for, and of course we got hit with on the biggest night of the year. So
how would you communicate with folks?
Now we've got the horns, just like that. And on that particular time, it was just, we did the best we can. We all divided up into groups and stopped everybody and stuff. And of course, then our biggest problem right there is we had people in the haunt and people out, and of course we had to close. We can't operate without all of our emergency features and stuff. So it's like, all right, who paid, or whose ticket's already been redeemed, whose hasn't, how to get them back. So it was kind of a trying, but what we did is we kept everybody in the haunt who already had their ticket scanned, and those people we ran around and we gave them a special ticket. And then we said, just hold on to this for further notice. And then what we did is we did announcements all over Facebook and said, apologizing for the scenario after we had sent everybody home. and basically saying that, you know, if you'll have a choice. We're going to open up a few extra days because this was right at the end of the season. You can come on back to one of those extra days, and we will give you a free ticket to our My Bloody Valentine, or we'll give you a refund. So, and I'd say probably about 70% of them took that offer. You know, so, you know, the distressing in this over here took forever. I mean, it was a matter of taking chains and hammers and just beating and beating and beating.
So this
anything
is
we could.
literal distressing.
Oh, this was just because the first thing I did was wallpaper the whole thing.
Okay.
And then they came in here and just kept on. I mean, just to tear it up and, you know, and then of course, well, actually before they tore it up, the graffiti artist came in there and graffitied it all, and then it had to be torn up after they graffitied it, you know, just to kind of make it all look natural, you know.
It looks awesome.
That's it.
So that's not like a latex or anything like that. That's real wallpaper and real distressing. That's cool.
Yeah, so this room over here has been, originally, back during Greystone Manor, this was a library. Then during the prison, this was the mess hall, and now wound up being a cafeteria for the school. So it's changed 3 times now over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Now, going back to Greystone Manor, when did you start haunting, Vinny, and how did you get started with this?
Well, I don't know the year. All I know is that years and years, and well, actually, it even started before that. I mean, there was a JC's, I'm sorry, it was the Kiwanis at that time that did a haunt. And I kind of helped out a little bit. I mean, I was big into reptiles at the time, and I would allow them to use my snakes in there, and there was a couple times I kind of helped them out in that. But then, gosh, it had to be at least 25, 30 years ago, something like that. On this very property, this was a flea market, and I was invited with a friend to come on down and help do a haunted house here. It was called Tearing the Aisles. At that time, it was the old black plastic haunts where, the plastic that was down, and there was no animations except stuff you did with fan motors and stuff like that. But it was a neat haunt, and I helped build. I remember at that time I was building alien pods out of paper mache for them and stuff. So the next year I came on back, and it was more of a partner at that time to kind of help with and it did really well. And helped with it. And it was at that time that I and my friend at the time, who was also asked to help, decided that, you know, let's go off and try our own. And we did. We went up the road to, there was another flea market that was up the road, and we opened up our first haunt, and it was called Haunted Halls. And it did really well. It did. And then after that, there's if you've ever been to Florence, Alabama, you'll see what looks like a space needle. And at the time, my job, I was over an aquarium and nature center, which was inside that space needle. Well, long story short, the space needle had to close down. It was state-owned, and so somebody had to stay there with this empty building, and it was me and one other person. We were just going to over this empty building for a few years. Well, during that time, I asked the board that was over that, you know, hey, would you allow me to rent out part of this building, do a haunted house there? And that's where really everything really kind of started for me. I mean, we did it for 3 years. It was called Tower of Terror, and we never went up in the top, but we just played on it. There was 2 levels right there of a haunted house, and it did really well. We did our second year now. Wasn't as good as the first year. The first year was great. It was Tower of Terror, and we had a really good turnout. The second year, right before we opened, was 9/11. Oh. And our advertisement had already started. So all of a sudden on the radio, you know, we were saying, you know, come to Tower of Terror. Yeah. And then we started getting hammered by people. It's like, you know, because at that time there wasn't much in the way of social media, but it was newspaper, letters to the editor. How dare they, you know, play on this tragedy? So immediately we had to change the name and stuff like that. But everything went well. We recovered from that. And then I did a couple at the mall. We did one called Shop of Horrors, another one called, I think it was called The Darkness, we called that one, just small little haunts. And then took a break as we look at it, all right, I need a permanent place, because this tearing, because we would rent a place for 3 months, we'd build it in September, operate in October, and tear it down in November. And it just became a mess, you know, just having to tear things down and throw so much of it away and stuff. So one thing led to another. This was an old flea market. It was going downhill. The gentleman that owned this property over here, I used to, of course I had a pet shops at the time. I would take care of his aquariums. I was in there and I was talking to him about, you know, my goals and what I wanted to do. And one thing led to another, and I wound up getting a lease on this property. And it was trying, because I thought, you know, we'll build this haunted house, and then, well, right off when we started building, even though we were out in the county, laws changed right in the middle of our build, because what happened was there was that fire that was up north in the nightclub. It was there was like 100 people died from a fire in the nightclub. When it happened, Alabama changed their laws basically overnight, you know, and basically said that we got really strict on fire suppression and stuff. Before, we were out in the county, and as long as you just kind of built it to the codes of the county, you were fine. Well, then they put everything in the state under these big umbrellas and stuff, and haunted attractions got put onto what's called special amusement, and they got strict. So right in the middle of my build, I got a knock on the door from the state fire marshal, and said, where's your blueprints? And I said, well, here's what I got. And he said, no, your architectural blueprints. And I said, well, and I had them drawn out nice, and it's like, no, the ones from your artist. I said, I don't have an architect. And he said, cease construction immediately. Oh, and that was my first real awakening to like, oh boy, what have I done? Because I'd already spent tons of money. We bought props from Scare Factory at the time. I mean, I had thousands of dollars invested in this and a lease, and I had this guy and here it was like February, March, something like that. And it's like, cease construction. I mean, and they had the authority. I couldn't even pick up a hammer in my own building. The state's got that. So then we had to find an architect that was willing to take on a project that was already starting, and that's not easy,
No, I can imagine.
So after about a month of finding it, he had to draw up the plans, he sent them down to Montgomery, and they had to approve it, and they sent them back, and they had to make some changes, send it back. And then we started with the construction. Well, then the disaster happened, and laws had changed and stuff. Well, then that's when they said they want it sprinkled. So then I had to get a sprinkle company to come on in, and because I really wanted ceilings in my haunt, now you had to sprinkle the attic along with the bottom. So so it's like, all right, what do we got? We got to do. So I submitted the new prints. They approved the print. Well, no, I'm sorry. I submitted them, and then they denied it. He came on in and said, I want what they call a dry system. And I said, a dry? And I said, but it's October in Alabama. Most of the time we're at 90 degrees, and he said it needs to be a dry system. Well, a dry system means it's just full of air instead of full of water until it needs to be full of water. Well, in fact, what you can hear right there is the compressor that does the air system. It just happened. It kicks on about twice a day, something like that. So basically, I had to go back to the drawing board, and that's, anybody knows anything about sprinkler systems, that's another $15,000, $20,000 on top of all the other money we've just spent. So anyway, long story short, we finally got it approved, and then we got the go ahead to get going on our construction, and then it was a race to try to get done. And that night, I think it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, we're still, because he came on in, did his inspection like the day before we opened, and he still wasn't happy with some of the stuff that was done. He wanted the firewalls and different places. And we were out there, and Bill, and like I said, he came back, signed off on it finally that next day, and then we finally got to open it on up. But the first few years we're trying, because it's like, we're thinking, okay, we're on Highway 72 here, which, if you're familiar with this area, that's a major highway. I mean, it's nothing compared to what you would see in Atlanta, one of the big cities, but it's for little rural Alabama, that's a pretty good highway right there. We're thinking, well, we should pull in 10,000 people easily this first year. I mean, we're right there on the highway, we got a big sign. No, it wasn't even close to that. So those first few years over there, we were sweating, and because the money was not coming in, and I had this giant debt on me, and plus all the other debts, billing. But
the lease doesn't stop, the bills don't stop,
and utilities and insurance and all the other stuff that comes through. But a little bit later on, I bought my partner out. We went separate ways. We made a bunch of changes, and now fast forward, 15 years later, 18 years later, something like that. I mean, everything's going really well, and we're excited, and I've got a good relationship with the fire marshals now. I know what they want, what they expect, I mean, inspections are still, they're still scary, but I think that's the scariest thing for a haunt owner is dealing with the fire marshal, because, he can stop you from opening, and of course, I could bankrupt you, so I mean, he's got that power. So I want to make sure, of course, he's happy, and we don't want to do anything that's going to put anybody in danger. So if he says do it, we're going to do it. So we've got alarm systems in here now, and then the fire suppression, and then I don't have to have the fire department on site because I have an alarm system, but I feel better with the fire department on site. So to me, it's worth the money to have. We usually have at least 6 firefighters here. They got a tanker truck right out front over there. And that way, if there's an issue, they're already right here. And knock on wood, I mean, we've gone this many years, we've never had any major accident. There are a couple scrapes and bumps and something like that.
Now we know how much passion Vinny has, because a lot of people would have given up on this.
Fighting an uphill battle.
Yeah.
So this next area is probably one of the most talked about or areas that the customers really like. This is our swamp voodoo area. This whole thing was an accident, the way it happened. We were actually, during Greystone Manor, we were digging out, or kind of cleaning. This was a parking lot between two buildings, and we were going to make this into a cemetery. Well, we had already built this facade in the front that was over here. Well, something happened, and we had a major rainstorm, and it filled up with water. And we waited for it to drain out. And after about a month or two, it never drained out. And it's like, all right, so we went to plan B. This is a swamp now. We moved the cemetery to a different spot. But it wound up being kind of a family. So we built everything. We got these old bridges that we built over, and at night, of course, we've got sprinkler heads on the top, so it's raining. Now, whether it's going to rain tonight, I don't know. It's going to be pretty cold tonight, so
right.
It doesn't a lot of times rain. And we made the mistake one Valentine's Day. We made it rain, and the whole thing turned into a sheet of ice.
Oh, yeah.
So we're not going to. So we'll
yeah.
have to watch the weather from now on for that. But we usually make it rain. We got lightning and thunder going on, and we have a fog in there too. So the ambiance in this area is probably out of the whole haunt. This is my favorite spot right here. Is the ambiance at night.
So when we were here during the storm, it was actually storming and actually storming.
Yeah. Our rainstorm is so realistic at night that you'll hear, and the actors will tell you that people say, "Oh no, I didn't roll my windows up," because they think it's actually a rainstorm that's happening.
That's cool.
At night it's just the lanterns that are lighting it up. And so this year we kind of changed up. Our voodoo, we added werewolves in with our voodoo. So we've got a bunch of wolves throughout the
We like werewolves.
scene.
Ooh, you even got your symbol right there on that building.
Yeah, I like seeing the branding all throughout the hunt too. Yeah.
Anybody who knows of our crew and stuff like that, they branded themselves the Legion. They're the Mortis Legion, and of course they've got their own symbol, and of course all of our shirts and stuff. But that's everybody's got a name for their crew. That's our crew, and they're proud to be, and I'm proud to have them.
Nice.
Heck yeah.
So we saw the catwalk come, over by the path over there. I was wondering how it tied together. So
Yeah, we've got bridges there. It depends on what we got open each year. On how we kind of redirect them through here. So.
Okay. You can direct folks to different buildings
Yeah.
based on.
Yeah.
Huh.
So every year you come to MBV, you might see something different.
Right. And last year, that little bridge that we just walked on right there, we added that one last year just to be able to keep them out here longer. Because before that, it was kind of a quicker trim. Now, with that bridge, I can direct them out. They can stay out here a little bit longer. And it just, like I said, I just like this area. So
Yeah.
this is our finale for the voodoo area. This room was put together by Ryan, Ryan Little. He's one of my main guys as far as my scenic design and stuff. He does great, but this was one of the first projects that he did on his own, and he really proved himself on it. This one's been a hit. So.
Nice.
And it's an automated room too. When he activates it, everything it kind of comes alive, So this room over here, this whole thing right here, is probably going to be ripped out by the time we come back next year, because we're looking at, for this next season, maybe reversing the whole haunt. And going in backwards and going through, which will kind of give you a whole different take on the whole different. Because when you come into a room from the opposite angle, it just throws everybody off. So.
It looks nothing the same. Yeah.
Yeah, this is another one of the recues right here that will kind of divide you up. It's an automated, and like I said, they don't even have it plugged in, so we may be not using this one tonight. But it will kind of divide you up and then send you back into the underground.
So you can speed them up and slow them down, like depending on how busy you are.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now what are we going into?
Yeah. So this section is what we call the blood hive.
Oh.
It was our new addition to last year, and it was a hit. People really enjoyed it. And this again, my team did a great job in.
So are there vampires down here?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Oh, look at that.
Oh, that's cool. So how does this work?
Yeah.
It's one of those misting fogging systems. It uses the water actually to make the fog, and just got, which actually it's supposed to be on all sides right now. I guess they haven't turned those on yet for tonight, but.
Okay. That's a really spooky area.
Yeah, it is.
I like how sometimes you got windows too, where you can see into the next area.
You'll see in the blood hive, there's pictures, and these are all different actors and management team and stuff that they've and made them look distinguished, like old timey. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
In fact, there's yours truly right there,
Yeah.
Robbie.
That's freaking cool. Are those stalactites or stalagmites? I could never remember.
We've got some arch ceilings up here.
Yes. Ooh, I really like this area.
Definitely getting the feeling like you're walking through a vampire lair sort of vibe.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, we wanted a different take on it, so it's like an underground. We kind of came up with using it.
They can't be out in the sun, so yeah, they'd be underground.
Mm-hmm.
Got some smells in here.
Yeah. Oh my. Somebody had a bad day. Now, how are you guys doing your scents? Does somebody come through and spray them, or do you guys have canisters that disperse them, or is it in your fog?
Both. We have the old scent distributors like Froggy Fog cells that we got them all right there, and then we also go back and kind of highlight some of the stuff too.
Okay. Because some of them are really strong, and it's like for the off season, it smells great.
Yeah, because nobody's gone through and hit it yet, so it'll be a lot stronger tonight. Because right now it's just the scent cannons, whatever you want to call them.
Oh wow. Legion.
So this hallway right here, it was probably the simplest of everything that we built in the haunt, but it probably gets the most reaction because at night it is pitch black. It's about a 100-foot long hallway, a little bit more, and it's just the reactions they get because they kind of feel the way through it. And again, like I said, it was a simple scare. There wasn't much to do. We just put some fishing line kind of down to kind of feel like there's stuff in your face.
Mm-hmm. Well, I remember an actor being down low too.
Oh yeah, there's usually at least.
You're not in here alone, that's for sure.
No. Well, and the sounds are pretty creepy too.
I like how you've decorated some of the sprinkler lines because you can't really move them, so at least.
Yeah, exactly. Continuing with our underground theme, we call this the mine shaft.
Okay. Oh. It's
So-
getting skinnier.
Get a little wonky here.
So we do have an event, Summer Haunt Nights. It's a family event that we do, and the mine shaft is converted and changed into it's a pirate theme, and you're in a pirate ship, and this works perfect for like if you're in a pirate ship. So we had all kinds of pirates throughout the whole thing. The actors will dress up as pirates, and it's really a cool event. I mean, I love pirates myself, and
we do too.
the kids love it.
And we're in a really big building right now too. Like that.
Oh yeah.
You won't see that when it's haunt light, but.
Now, you were actually at the front door of the mansion right here. So that the front door is actually an emergency exit,
Okay.
to kind of give you a kind of perspective. We've made like a giant circle around the whole.
Oh, so the facade out front is
Yeah.
what okay.
We're actually in the facade right now of the.
It's not just a facade.
No.
This is, so that's So that particular prop right there, they call it Yoga. It's a Unit 70 prop. It's the biggest one we've got, the biggest prop. But one drawback we have in this haunt compared to most all of our ceilings are just 8-foot ceilings. So we can't have anything big like that. That's the only spot that we can have that. But we had to basically almost build the place around him. There's no way to get him in and out. So he will be here until the day the haunt's gone.
Oh wow. He's stuck.
So how often do you guys keep a particular scene, and like what inspires you to do the next iteration of an area?
We used to have a certain format that we would stay, we keep it for this amount of time. So now we basically, it's basically a roundtable discussion. That the groups, it's like I had no intention of ripping out the prison. I like the prison, but they came to me and said, hey, let's change the prison. We're going to make it and they were going either a hotel theme or a school theme. We went back and forth like that. And I basically, to be honest, I leave it up to them. Because if they want to, if the majority wants to do it, we'll rip it out and we'll build something else. Try it. The only thing that I probably put my foot down on is going to be the clinic. I just don't want to rip out the clinic. I'm partial to that particular one. Now changing it up here and there, adding to it, but I don't want to delete that one. So.
Sure.
Right.
Okay. That's a benefit of having the real trees and stuff around too, is you get the crunchy leaves in the fall.
Yeah, and a fun fact, this was a parking lot. So everything you're seeing here has grown within the last 20 years.
Oh wow.
Now we planted a lot of the bigger trees you're seeing here, we actually went out in the woods and planted saplings around, like this tree right here was planted here. This was an old cottonwood. I picked a lot of cottonwoods because cottonwoods grow quick. I mean, it's like, they'll grow, 10 feet a year easily, something like that.
Oh wow.
But yeah, everything that's here, this, like I said, and now, I'm enjoying it. The only drawback is these old flea market buildings have asphalt flooring. I mean, they were not concrete, they were all asphalt. Well, unfortunately, my trees their roots are going up under the asphalt, and you could feel the asphalt. But so it's a constant battle. Now we have to tear up the asphalt, cut the root out, and patch. You know, and it's just, I guess I won't trade it because I like the ambient, especially in the fall. Right now, of course, all the leaves are off. But when you come out here in October, the leaves are still on the trees, and this is just, it's you can't see right over there. I mean, it's so thick, you know, with stuff.
Like you're in the forest, yeah.
This was an area that when I told you that about the flooding, this area between these two buildings, because you have all the water that comes off of that 150-foot long building, and all the water on that 150 foot, and it all came down in here. And same thing happened in the swamp. That's why the swamp stays flooded all the time. Well, our cemetery was staying flooded too, no matter what we did. So we wound up having to do, we came in here with a backhoe and wound up burying pipes in here and raising the ground up. And then, like I said, then I paved it with these pavers over here to get it out. And now, since we've done that, you know, unless we get a really, really bad rain, sometimes this side will flood, but that side will always stay at least above flood level. So, fortunately, there's some extra distressing in the cemetery that has to be fixed. We got a wall right here. This whole area right here, a storm had taken out during the summer. So, and it's on our agenda to rebuild this year, but it wasn't going to get rebuilt before my buddy Valentine. So this area over here used to be, we used to end with the clowns. So this was like a freak show carnival in it. And so I guess it was about 6 years ago, we changed out and we put the clowns out in the woods, and they're the first thing you go and see now. So the clowns are the first, and then we ended with hillbillies out here. So it's kind of a hillbilly theme, chainsaws, that kind of stuff, as our finale. So
Time for Nora to not run.
yeah.
I don't think that's gonna work.
Oh, I remember these guys were pretty intense.
And these are the cemetery gates you see from the parking lot.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
Yeah,
and
so
that's on our agenda too, is to rebuild that whole wall this year too. So when we got the tornado hit, damaged the haunt, we rebuilt the haunt and fixed it all up there, but we haven't finished the wall yet. So the wall is one of the next steps to get done. So, but this is the end of the regular haunt. I said we've got other sections like. If you come other years, you may have come through and entered through these walkways here. There'd be claustrophobic wall, and so we did away with a lot of the claustrophobia when COVID hit because people didn't want to touch anything. I think it's kind of making a comeback now. I think people are over that, but we may open it up again in the future. You know, and when you get to this point, you could go that way. Go get photos, and then you come into the gift shop, or you go this way and come into the gift shop. There's just two different entrances into the gift shop. But we'll just
Be prepared to see an awesome gift shop.
Oh, this is amazing.
I love it.
So in the gift shop, one of our newer additions this year is the Bear Factory. When I was at Transworld, I saw the Bear Factory on the floor. I've seen them there in the past, and I always kind of laughed. It's like, who would want to build a bear or a bear factory, you know, like that? So. But what happened was I was at the Drury, or the hotel we always stay at, and one of our friends of mine, he's from a Louisiana haunt, and he's actually building a miniature golf course to go with his haunted house. Like he's building almost like I have at Killing Time, and I've been kind of helping him suggestions, you know, on what to build. And in fact, he's building a gem mining just because I was telling him how good mine's done. Well, he came up to me and he said, I know what you got to do next. And I said, all right, but I was kind of excited. He said, the Bear Factory, and I looked at him, it's like, what? I said, you serious? He said, no, I'm serious. The Bear Factory. He said, you will not believe that what you. And I said, I don't know about that. Well, then that night, went to a roundtable discussion we were invited to as a haunt. And there was about 8 other haunts there. And went to a big roundtable, and they kind of go through, you know, what works for your advertising, what works for this. Well, they came to merchandising. You know, what do you have in the gift shop? And one of the first haunts, a major haunt there, and he said, I'll tell you, our best seller is the Bear Factory. I don't know if you've heard that. And it's like, and I looked at my partner that was over there. It's like, are you serious? And then we're going around and said, yeah, that worked out for me too. And another one's all. And I thought, all right, my wife was sitting there too. I said, I guess we're gonna go look at the Bear Factory tomorrow. So we went down there on the floor, and so I started looking at what they've got, and I thought, you know, in my gift shop, plushes are a big seller. So maybe it would do really well. But then I started thinking, well, I've got Killing Time, so I can use it at Killing Time because I think that would go over really well. So I really, when I bought into the franchise, I thought, you know, I'm just going to mainly use it for Killing Time. I don't think. So I built a big building over there, a really nice fan, and it's done really well. So last year I decided, because it's done really well, let me just try it. And at Killing Time, you know, we may do, you know, 30, 40 bears, you know, a night on the big nights, you know, in the summertime, you know, like that. And so that's DJ getting ready for tonight.
It's all good.
So anyway, we built a little section in the back over there of the gift shop and put the Bear Factory in. I think it was last year that one of the first nights we did like 70 bears, and it's like, and it's like, okay, I'm sold, you know. So any other haunters out there, you know, I don't work for Bear Factory, but I will vouch for them. It does really well.
We have seen 2 at the haunts and seen people using them basically the whole night. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, we have a variety of stuff. Of course, T-shirts are always a big sale, T-shirts and hoodies, but we brand it as an oddity shop. It's called the Emporium of Curiosity and Oddities. So it's just a little smorgasbord of everything that we have in here. So from
Crystals.
we got gemstones and all kinds of sea life and shells and T-shirts, knives, all of your, you know, glassware, and then, you know, incense, and of course masks are a big one too. We carry all the Trick or Treat Studio mask and Lord Grimley Manor, their mask. Candles, of course, plushies are really big too. We sell tons of the plushies and a lot of the different jewelry and stuff.
So for folks that are curious, because you've invested so heavily in your merch shops and things like that, what, I don't want to ask particular numbers or anything, but what's a percentage of your revenue that you get a year off your gift shop?
Well, to be honest, this was new for me. We've had a gift shop for years, but it was a buddy of mine that owned it. Basically, what I did at the beginning, the ones that helped me put Greystone Manor together, and actually Arx Mortis too, put them together like that, I gave them a piece of the pie. So the ones that do the photos, that's their business. The ones that did the diner and the concessions, that's their business. Did you know, from airbrush tattooing to, you know, and same thing was a gift shop. You know, that's their thing. So I never asked him any numbers. I mean, he ran, at that time it was called Keeper's Corner, and it was the official gift shop of Arx Mortis. Well, what happened was, he was a friend of mine, and he built my whole air system, plus he did a lot of the welding that was in here too, because he's a master welder. His name David Stanfield, and like I said, they own Keeper's Corner, and he decided to get into some rocks and gemstones. And I kind of, you know, he started carrying more and more. Well, all of a sudden, the Arx Mortis gift shop was looking more like a rock shop. And I said, you sure that's gonna, you know, but he was selling them like crazy, and people were loving it, you know, like that. So as time went on, it just got more and more popular. So he said, I'm going to start opening during the off season. And so he was opening in conjunction with Killing Time and operating Keeper's Corner over here, and people coming here for the rock shop. Well, then one day, after years of doing it, he just said, we've outgrown that. We've got another building we're looking at. So I couldn't believe that he was moving on out, because I know he did really well, you know, during October, but the rock business had done really well for him. And they went to Florence and they built a beautiful shop over there, and it's something to go and see. I mean, it's just, so anyway, he took that. Long story short, I was then stuck with an empty building, and I had swore up and down, because I used to have pet shops years ago, I thought, I'm never going to get back into retail. I mean, I was just done with retail, you know, but all of a sudden it fell back into my lap. So I thought, all right, I'm back into retail. So went to Transworld, got a lot of contacts over there. We went and visited a lot of other gift shops. So I rethemed it. I kind of like that Cracker Barrel look, you know, kind of like old country store look like that, but kind of do more of a haunt slant, you know, kind of age things and stuff. And that's what we went in for and kind of put it all together. And I was blown away after that first season. It's like, whoa, you know, this is, I'd never expected that, you know, and it's just grown ever since then. So the good thing is, you know, there's been some things that have happened in the past with numbers with the haunt because of inclement weather or something like that. So this has been a nice cushion to know that, okay, you know, we may have had some down that, you know, our election years are always down, but, you know, at the haunts and like that, but this kind of made up for it, you know. So, you know, it's been a blessing. And if you don't have a gift shop at your haunt, you need to look into it, because it's definitely. And the other thing was the diner. The diner, before it was the diner, it wasn't mine. We didn't call it Killing Time or Killing. I did it again. And the reason I'm doing that, because last year was my first year at the diner. You know, I've had this now this is my third or fourth year, I think, going on with this over here. The diner was a friend of mine's too. Actually, it's been past a couple different actors. I think 4 different actors have had the diner over the years, or had that concession stand. You know, I thought this year it fell back onto mine, and it was nobody else to kind of pass it to. But also back then, I didn't have any experience in that. You know, but now that I've had Killing Time and I own it, you know, an ice cream and hot food shop and stuff over there, it's like, all right, I know how to run one now. We remodeled it, and I made it into that 50s look diner over there, and opened it up, and like I said, and I've been surprised too, because again,
So do you guys handle that in-house? Sorry to interrupt, but, or do you like contract that out and let somebody
Oh
else
no,
handle
it's
it?
all in-house now. It's my crew from Killing Time is actually who runs. Actually, that whole crew from Killing Time comes over and runs a lot of this outside stuff. They're running the same ones that are running the Bat Factory over there, running the Bat Factory over here. You know, it's just that they just kind of jump over here to this event, and then we're seasonal. You know, and all the businesses. Killing Time is closed from. It closes October 1st because I can't handle Killing Time and Arx at the same time. It's just not only physically I can't handle, but my parking lot can't handle that either. So it closes. So that crew then comes over here and works this until November, and then we pretty much get a break most of November and December, January, kind of a break. So then of course we got My Buddy Valentine, and then 4 weeks from now is when spring break happens in this area, and during spring break is when Killing Time opens up. That's when we have spring break at Arx, and then everything starts again for the whole cycle.
Okay.
So,
what is the feeling that you want folks to leave with when they come to visit Arx Mortis?
main thing is I want them to have had a good time. I want you to feel like you got your money's worth, you had a good time, it was a good night out, and you're going to go back and you're going to talk about it. You know, because for us, we love doing it. This is a passion. This was never meant to be my livelihood. In fact, I always tell everybody, Killing Time is my livelihood. Before Killing Time, I worked for the city of Florence. I was the animal services director there, and I left that to do Killing Time. That's my livelihood. This is my passion. This is my hobby, and this is the hobby and passion of all my actors and my management team and stuff. So, you know, I'm hoping that what we put into it, you enjoyed it. You know, you come on out, and really when we stand here and watch them come out that door right here, you could tell they're having a good time. Especially when they come on out. If the gift shop does well, when they come out, I know that the haunt's doing well, because you're not going to stop and buy a souvenir if you're not happy.
Right.
So.
Any customers buy stuff. Yeah.
Exactly.
For folks that want to come see Arx Mortis, where do you want to send them?
Our website's the best way, just arxmortis.com, or if you just type in Arx Mortis in Google, you're going to find us. There's multiple sites that will lead you right back to this point right here. You can buy your tickets online or buy them at the gate. It is a little cheaper a lot of time if you don't buy one of our pre-sales. We always have pre-sales to get it cheaper, but it is a little cheaper at the gate. You save the booking fees or the ticket fees that the companies charge on top of us. So.
What's the normal ticket cost for like MBV versus the normal hunt season?
Normal hunt, it's about half price.
Okay.
So yeah, so you're basically getting to see the whole haunt and extra actors. I mean, I don't want to say that the show's better because I don't want to take away from our fall haunt, some of that.
Right.
But when you've got an extra 50 actors in there, you're getting, and actors from all over the country. I mean, you're getting something different, So it's a different feel too. There's the fall haunt. There's a little pressure on us. The fall haunt's got to make certain marks, because we've got bills to pay. We got, a lot of people look at, haunts, well, they're making a killing. They don't understand that we're only open 12, 14 days, but it's got to pay for 365 days of bills that are going to come in, So, yeah, there's a lot that come in during that 12 to 14 days, but when you start spreading it out and pay years worth of insurance and utilities and mortgage and all the other fees associated with it, it takes a lot. So what I love about My Buddy Valentine is that's been taken care of with the fall haunt. This is for fun. We actually, with the actors, know what we do with this, whatever we get on this after we pay our bills on the event. This is our Transworld money. This is what we're going to go to Transworld. We're going to buy new props, new monsters, new makeup, more new costumes, whatever we're going to do. That's what this is for, or for our build itself. So.
Keeping it fresh and new every year.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Well, thank you for having us, Vinny.
Oh, thank you guys. I appreciate you coming on out. So, we've only got a few hours to opening, so I'm going to have to kind of kick you guys out now, but I appreciate you guys coming, and we'll see you in a few hours.
Alrighty, thank you.
We'll see you tonight.
See ya. Bye.
Bye, Vinny.